Super Smash Bros. Is a huge franchise for Nintendo. It's a very fun, light-hearted beat-em-up game in which players fight each other using different Nintendo characters as well as other guest characters. The game makes a ton of money, and it's available on pretty much any Nintendo system you can think of, really. It's very fun, very awesome, and it makes a lot of money. Sony knows this, and they made a version similar to it called PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale. Both these games are really fun games. But I'm here to talk about what if Microsoft had their own version of Super Smash Bros. Using their licensed characters and their various franchises, as well as some guest characters. Well, I've actually made a mock roster of what we could possibly see if they did make one. Now, of course, this is not official, and this is just all in my head, but I thought it'd be fun to start a discussion about this. So without further ado, Smash Bros. Has, I believe, about 48 characters in it, in the base game without DLC. So we're going to try and hit around the 40 to 50 range of characters, and that'll be our target. So let's see what we get. Let's just get the Halo characters out of the way first, since Halo is Microsoft's biggest franchise. I picked 5 from Halo. I picked the Master Chief, I picked the Arbiter, I picked Sergeant Locke, Sergeant Johnson, and Cortana. I think those are pretty interesting characters. They can make some pretty cool move lists out of, and of course, you gotta have Halo in a game about Microsoft. Next, I also have 2 Dead Rising 3 characters, Nick and Annie, the two, the lead male and the lead girl, female. I think that those could be, decent characters, have some cool, actually some pretty cool moves with Nick and his, item customization, but we're not here to talk about move lists, just characters. Now moving on to Gears of War, of course, because another big Microsoft franchise, I have Marcus, Dom, Baird, and Cole, 4 very well-known Gears of War characters. There was a ton of Gears of War characters I could have put in here as well, but we're trying not to overload it with franchises, kind of like how Nintendo in Smash 4 just has a ton of Pokemon and a ton of Fire Emblem characters. Anyways, moving on, Banjo and Kazooie, of course, Joanna Dark, she's from the Perfect Dark games, Conker, the squirrel from the Conker games, Rash from Battletoads, Lara Croft, of course, because, her Square Enix and Microsoft have been kind of partnering up, and since they published Rise of the Tomb Raider, she counts. There's also Cameo, a very old, rare game, launch title for the 360. We have Ori from Ori and the Blind Forest. These next 2 are just because are kind of guest characters. I have Ryu Hayabusa from the Ninja Gaiden and Dead or Alive games because, they have Team Ninja has a pretty good relationship with Microsoft, even having Hayabusa armor in Halo and a Spartan in Dead or Alive 4. And the Wanderer from Fallout, because they've always had good relations with Microsoft. Moving on, I have Drew from Scalebound, he's the playable character, as well as a Crackdown agent from Crackdown, of course. A forgotten Microsoft character, Blinks the Time Cat. Now that's going back a ways. The player from Sunset Overdrive, you can have different costumes for a male version and a female version, as well as the player from Recore, which is a game that isn't out yet, but I think it's going to be pretty big. Moving on, we have Alan Wake from, of course, Alan Wake, and the cast from the new Remedy game Quantum Break. We have Jack Joyce, Beth Wilder, and Paul Serene. Those are the main characters, the central characters. Now, a new addition, I couldn't have put these in here until a couple months ago. We have Steve, Alex, and the Creeper from Minecraft. Now, Microsoft just bought Minecraft, so these are all technically Microsoft characters. Steve is the person you play as, Alex is the female skin that they made, and then the Creeper is everybody's favorite love it or hate it creature in that game. For Steve, we could actually probably have an alternate costume, that's Herobrine, which was a very popular myth back in the days. Moving on, we have an agent from The Division. I don't really care which one, take your pick, maybe the guy on the cover. We have a Titan and a pilot from Titanfall. I think those would be pretty interesting, as well as Jago and Saberwolf from Killer Instinct. We could probably even fit in more Killer Instinct characters if we need to fill the bill, because Killer Instinct has tons of characters. We have a Pinata, I don't care which one, from Viva Pinata. Max from the Curse of Brotherhood and the Magic Marker games. Pretty much any of the Fusion Frenzy people. My initial thought about this is have it be like one, kind of like Bowser Jr. in Smash Brothers, where each costume is a different character. So the green costume would be whatever her name is, and then the red costume would be Samson. Yellow would be Zack, stuff like that. You can have the different characters. Same with the Castle Crashers, since the Castle Crasher Knights really only differentiate between colors, so you could just have like the red, orange, blue, and green knight have as different costumes. And last but not least, we have, of course, your Xbox avatar. This would work similar to how Nintendo does it in Smash Brothers, where you have the Mii characters that you can kind of customize and change their fighting styles around, except for in this version with the Xbox avatar, it'll just pull directly from your Xbox avatar and you'll have that same look. They've actually done this in a couple other games like the old Guitar Hero and the Kinect games and stuff like that. They use your actual Xbox avatar. I think that'd be pretty cool to see that in this game brought in some way, and then have you be able to actually customize the move list of that character. And that's what I got for the characters for this game. Now let's do a tally and see how many we have. Alright, not counting any of the Castle Crasher Knights or the Fusion Frenzy people as different characters, that leaves us with 43 characters. That isn't even including the various guest characters that could be coming in and stuff like that, and I honestly think this is a pretty solid roster. Microsoft has access to all these characters, and I think Microsoft really should make a party fighter similar to Smash Brothers and PlayStation All-Stars, because it just makes sense. If Nintendo has something and then Sony kind of copied it, and you know they made their own version of it, I think Microsoft should do one too, because it is a cool idea. It definitely is a great idea. Have a game where all your franchises come together and fight. You could also use this logic for a racing game. Have all your franchises mesh together into some kind of racing, like a kart racer. I'm not saying they should do that. I'm just saying the same idea applies. But honestly, I think if Microsoft were to do this roster is pretty solid. If I missed anything important, make sure to just comment down below, and let me know what you guys think of a name, because I couldn't really think of a name for this. But if you guys could come up with a cool name, like Super Smash Brothers or PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale, a cool Microsoft name that represents what it's about, and of course the gameplay would basically just be identical to Smash Brothers or PlayStation All-Stars. We're just trying to make a Microsoft version of those two games. So let me know what you think down below, and make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay classy, guys.